Hey, hi, it's me, your void. It's Adventurerathon again. This will be, if all goes according to plan, one of 3 vlogs you will see in July or for the month of July, and it will be the first Adventurerathon vlog out of 2 that I'm doing. And for the beginning of this is going to be incredibly weird because I'm filming 2 vlogs at the same time and they share a TBR. Because if you have seen my Adventurerathon TBR, you know that there are so many books on this TBR, but you will also know that I'm also participating in Summerween, and Summerween is right at the start of July, so they kind of overlap, and my Adventurerathon TBR is also has my Summerween TBR baked into it because I have so many prompts for Adventurerathon, and my overachieving ass wants to hit as many prompts as possible, but I also want to complete all of Summerween, so it's a whole kerfuffle. Anyway, so for this first vlog, there will be 5 books that I'm not going to go into detail because I read them for the Summerween vlog. There will be a vlog for that. I think the Summerween vlog actually already came out by the time you're watching this video because time is weird. This is going to be a whole mess of a vlog anyways because we are just coming off of the heat wave of ever. In Germany, we had 42 degrees at some point. We don't get 42 degrees. Germany is a country where you're lucky when you have a 30-degree day in summer, and that's usually way later than the end of June. Also, I'm talking Celsius here, not Fahrenheit, because we are using actually intelligent metrics here. Anyway, so we're coming off of the tail of an exhaustive heat wave, and the next one is already predicted to happen. I think the current weather models say it has a 70% chance to hit us on July 6th. For now, temperatures are stable and it is breathable. The air is breathable, it doesn't burn you from the inside. So I will make the most of this week that I have where I can do more than just try to exist, and we will see where this goes. What do I want to read first? I have no idea. At least not for the Adventurerathon vlog. I have to figure that out. Actually, let's figure it out together, shall we? I have to move Frank. Frank is my fan. He's my biggest fan, and I am his biggest fan. He is the one thing that kept me alive during the heat wave, but he is standing in front of my bookshelf. Bitch has to move so we can go to my shelves. Okay, so do I remember what's on my TBR? I know I have to read Someone You Can Build a Nest In, Out on a Limb, Napkins and Other Distractions. Blood of the Chosen was on there, I know that. And Evocation. One Dark Window. Night of the Seven Kingdoms, there we go. I think those are the physical books. That's at least what I can remember at the moment. I mean, reading one of the novellas from Night of the Seven Kingdoms would be quick, but I don't think I want to pick them up just yet because I know I will like them. So I think I want to save these for when I'm losing steam in the middle of the month. It's inevitable that I lose steam in the middle of the month. So I think I want to have them because I know I will like them and I know that these are quick wins. So I think I'm going to keep them for later. One Dark Window I have on audio, so I might also put that on hold for walkies and only listen to it on walkies with the doggo. I might actually keep this until the end of the month because at the end of the month I'm going to house sit at my aunt's, so we're also excluding audiobooks for now, which excludes exactly 1 book. Oh no, it excludes 2. It excludes 2 because I also have to read A Darker Shade of Magic, and that's also an audiobook I have. Okay, leaves these. Logic tells me I should start with a big one, which would be Blood of the Chosen. Isn't there another big one? Oh yeah, Mistress of Lies. I forgot, I also have to read Mistress of Lies. And Blood of the Chosen and Mistress of Lies are like the biggest books on my TBR, as well as Evocation. Here's the thing, I don't need to read every single prompt, and I would like to continue and finish as many series as possible. Mistress of Lies starts a new series, as does Evocation. This is a series continuation, this is a series continuation, and these 2 are standalones. So I should pick one of these. I think I want to go Someone You Can Build a Nest In, because this is it monster romance? It's a thing that wants to eat people falling in love with a human, and I think that fits with the vibe of Summerween, so I can basically, by strategically picking my reads, stay in the same mood. So I think I'm going to start with Someone You Can Build a Nest In. Sounds like a plan, right? I want wanted to talk to you about someone you can build a nest in, but now my puppy is chewing on my hand. He does this cute thing where he wants, you know how babies want to suck on their thumbs? He wants to suck on our thumbs. But we're almost done teething. We're waiting for the final 2 back teeth. Hi, baby. He's also incredibly bored because during the heat wave we couldn't do much with him, which is great when you have a 6-month-old puppy. He's supposed to take a nap. So yeah, while he's holding my hand, let me tell you about someone you can build a nest in. I would like to hold up the book, but I have dog slobber all over my hands now, so I'm probably going to just put up a picture. But yeah, I read this quicker than I thought. I read this in a single day. I read this book in a single day. I wasn't expecting to read it in a single day, but I did. And yeah, what are my thoughts on that? It's a cute, cozy romance, just weird enough that I enjoyed my time with it. It's very hard for me to find a cozy read that I enjoy, because I am someone, I need shit to happen. I need shit to happen in the books that I read, and this one had just enough happen that I liked it, that I stuck with it, while at the same time it was still just a cozy read and just a very strange romance. So Shashan, I don't know. It's a very strange name, but that is the prompt I'm reading this for. And yeah, so Shashan is they call it a worm, but Shashan says that is not the right word for it, and the thing these people describe as a worm is not what Shashan is. So I don't know. It's never really established what Shashan actually is, other than an amorphous blob that needs external infrastructure like bones from other things, mostly people, to build her own skeleton and stuff. Like, she has to borrow body parts and rearrange them inside of her to make herself look like a person. And there is this family coming to her neck of the woods, and they wake her up in the middle of winter because they want to break a curse and banish the worm. To break the curse, that is all of the plot. They wake her up and they want to banish the worm, which is her, but she's not a worm. It's a whole thing. A bunch of people die, she eats a bunch of people, but then there is one person that helps her out in a sticky situation, and Shashan tries to be a bit more human because she likes that person, and she thinks, this is where the title comes into play, she thinks this person is someone she can build her nest in because she needs to have a human body where she can lay her eggs. And we basically follow Shashan fall in love with this person, but since Shashan has never fallen in love before, she's kind of like, is love the thing that I like? If I find someone I want to build my nest in, is that love? That is love, right? That is love? Wait, that's not love? That's the entire thing. While she has to pretend to be human to avoid these people killing her. It's the whole thing. She secretly has to eat people and stuff like that. And there's a whole thing. It is very strange, but very lovely. It was very nice. Look at that. Look at this baby. Look at this baby. He's actually a teenager now. His balls have dropped, and he is testing us. If you've seen one of my previous vlogs, you will know that I have bought a bunch of plants. Very pretty plants, very useful plants. They're all dead now because of him. The only thing I have left is 3 plants of incense and my sage. But since then I have installed a pond, so there's that. And I'm also very surprised that my bell pepper. I planted bell peppers on a whim. One day my mom was making some bell pepper stuff, and I saw the seeds and I was like, hey, why not try it? So I took the seeds, I dried them so they would be mold resistant a bit, and then I just threw them into a pot we had standing around doing nothing except having weeds grow in. Topped it up with some random garden soil, and now I have bell pepper plants. Look at that baby! Look at that baby! Look at him. But yeah, that's beside the point. I was still talking about someone you can build a nest in. Yeah, cute, cozy story about a weird creature discovering the concept of love under the weirdest possible circumstances. I liked it. It was a solid read. But this concludes the prompt of read something with an unpronounceable name, which was for Rumpelstiltskin. And that was a fairy tale. Let's go and bring this book back and pick up the next one. Hi, Frank. Let's turn you off. And close the window because the neighbors do not need to hear me talk to a camera. Frank's a bit in the way, but that's fine. Someone you can build a nest in goes here because it's a monster romance. No weird appendages though. I mean, a lot of weird appendages, but not in the monster smut variety. So now I'm going to pick up one of these three. And I think I'm actually in a romance mood. So I think I'm going to go with Napkins and Other Distractions by M.A. Waddell next. Just because I'm in a romance mood. It is I again, because I finished my next read with Napkins and Other Distractions by M.A. Waddell. This is so sweet. This is so sweet. This is such a cute book. I am deeply in love with Kent. I was deeply in love with Kent after I met him in the second book, Mistletoes and Michigas, because that man is chaos incarnate. Incarnate. This man can't even walk in a straight line without falling over because he tripped over his own feet. I love Kent so much. And I also kind of like Vincent. Vincent is adorable as a person. And I just loved seeing them struggling and then falling in love and struggling against falling in love, but then they still fell in love. It's just, this is so cute. I don't even know how to talk about this book and what to say about this book other than this is so freaking cute. This is so freaking cute. Such a good read. Such a good read. So this is about Kent and Vincent. Kent is the principal of an elementary school. Yes, elementary school. And Vincent is a software engineer or something. He works in IT with data and stuff. And Kent, as I said, is an absolute chaos gremlin. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. It's accidental. Things just happen to him. He's very uncoordinated, and I'm pretty sure Gravity has a personal vendetta against this man. I don't know why. Gravity just doesn't like him. And Vincent has clinical OCD, which has him struggle with germs first and foremost, but also messes of any kind of scale. If there's like a lot of mess, he has the urge to clean it up. Otherwise, bad things will happen in his mind. Like, he has to finish stuff. But he also loves Lego, and it is hilarious to see Kent just sit there and not being able to do anything, because every time he even thinks about doing Lego, it just bursts into flames. And then there's Vincent, who meticulously knows how to build the Eiffel Tower without looking at the instructions once. So that is just hilarious. Also, Kent's granddaughter, I love her. She met Vincent. Kent introduced her to Vincent one time, and she immediately was like, "Did you know that boys can marry boys?" I was done for. I love that little girl so much. But yeah, the story is about Kent and Vincent hooking up, kind of. They go on a date. They found each other on a dating app. They go on a date. It goes somewhere, and then they are like, "Oh, okay, cool. How about we never see each other again, because that was awkward." Only for them to then experience a Grey's Anatomy moment when they, the next day, meet at work, because Kent's school gets this new data collection system installed, and Vincent is one of the people who's working on the system and the way it is implemented. So they have to work together for weeks and weeks and weeks while they have this strange physical sexual attraction towards each other. And yes, this book builds on the physical attraction first, but, and it's a big but, sometimes relationships start like that, and I do like seeing that both of these men are confused by that, and they actively try to resist it, but they fail every time. But both of them are taken aback by how strong this physical reaction is they have towards each other, especially Vincent, because Vincent is not someone who gets physically intimate a lot of times. He has a lot of barriers for that because of his OCD, so he's confused about why he is this physically attracted to Kent, why he wants to be physical with this man. And Kent, on the other hand, is confused by how strong his physical attraction is to this guy, because even though he knew he is bisexual since high school, he only ever dated a woman. His ex-wife, he had her and no one else. So for him, it is the first time experiencing stuff with a man, so he is confused as to, okay, wait, I am old and I never had a thing with a guy, even though I know I'm attracted to guys. Why is this so strong? What? And they have to deal with that in their own ways. And the way they accommodate each other, like Vincent building a tolerance to mess so that Kent doesn't feel like a total fuck up, and the way Kent treats Vincent's OCD as, yeah, that's just part part of you. That's the thing we can manage. We don't have to make a fuss about it. It's just like, they are so sweet. I love them too. Also, because I read this for the cat prompt, I have to mention this cat. Icon. Fucking icon. Vincent doesn't like pets because he has a thing with germs, but Kent does not compromise a single bit on his cat and what his cat wants and what his cat likes, and they somehow make it work, and I love that for them. This book is just so stinking cute. I love it. So if you're looking for a queer romance between two men that are a lot older, well, not a lot older, but Vincent is, I think, in his late 30s and Kent is going towards 60, I believe. Like, he's in his 50s. And he has a daughter and he has a granddaughter, so like he has lived a life, but now he's finding love again. And I just, they're just the cutest. I love them so much. And yeah, I read this for the prompt of Cats, which is the Puss in Boots, I believe, which is another fairy tale. 2 fairy tales down. Time to pick my next read. Okay, now comes the question what I want to read next. I have no idea. I should probably start tackling one of the bigger ones, because if I don't, then all of my motivation is going out of the window and I'm never looking at them. So if I want to pick up one of the bigger ones, Blood of the Chosen or Mistress of Lies, also Evocation. But again, I don't want to start a series, which leaves me with Blood of the Chosen by Jungle Wexler. This is book 2 in the Burning Eye and Silver... No, in the Burning Blade and Silver Eye series. I always mess that up, man. Also, since last we spoke, my copy of Emperor of Ruin, book 3 in the series came in. So I'm going to read Blood of the Chosen by Jungle Wexler next. I am back with another update because I finished Blood of the Chosen by Jungle Wexler. I blasted through this in 2 days. Don't ask me how I did that, but wow. And I have to say, reading this in 2 days was more or less a necessity because nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. This is the issue I have when you have your main cast so violently separated from each other. And with violently separated, I don't mean something extremely violent happened and now they are at different points in the world or whatever. What I mean is that they are not meeting each other until the last 100 pages. And the last 100 pages were the most interesting part of this entire book. This one, I have to read book 3. Emperor of Ruin first, before I can tell you if this has second book syndrome, but it feels like this series has second book syndrome, because this entire thing felt like a very boring act 2. So, in this book, we follow 2 siblings, Geyer and Maya. Maya, at a young age, was taken by something called the Twilight Order, which is more or less a government agency, and they stick to this very strict code that was set out for them by something, a group of people called the Chosen. They are like, I don't know what they are. No one knows what they are, but they had superpowers and they were technologically advanced to a point where they had flying cities and stuff like that. So like they were like the cool super duper all powerful race until a war happened with the ghouls, and the ghouls are now deemed as evil and they have to be stomped out, and that is what the Twilight Order does. They are descendants of people given power by the Chosen, and they now do hunt these ghouls and the plague spawn and whatnot. They hunt the evil things. And then we have Geyer on the other side, Maya's brother, and he wanted wanted to prevent his sister being kidnapped by this order and attacked one of their agents who was about to take his sister away, and this agent gouged out his eye because, oh, you shed the blood of one of the chosen, blah, blah, stuff like that, you know? Corrupt government things. He grew up very miserable because of that, and then he spent his life trying to find a way to take revenge on the Twilight Order and rip the whole thing apart. Originally, his mission was to find his sister, but in book 1, he finds his sister and realizes, oh shit, she was like deeply indoctrinated in this whole thing because, duh, she was taken away when she was like 5 years old or something. So she's like in this thing. So he's like, okay, there is no saving my sister, might as well destroy the entire system so that no one else's sister gets stolen like that. And that is basically his mission in book 2. He has found some new friends, some new allies who can help him with that. And that is his mission in book 2, to take the new resources he found and distribute them to the right people in order to make a start at an actual rebellion that can actually do something against the Twilight Order. Meanwhile, Maya is sent on a fetch quest that goes nowhere, and I think I'm about to get some book mail. Told you. Not the book mail I was waiting for. Instead, it's something for the puppy. Hi, buddy. I believe that's his new dog bed because he has outgrown his little box. I mean, I could be wrong, but it says Knuffelwurf and has a dog on it. Look at this. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. I gotta finish my update, buddy. May I? May I finish my update? Okay, so where was I? Yes, Maya. Maya is sent on a fetch quest that has zero purpose, like legitimately zero purpose, other than give her and the reader a new word and a new kind of player. Just the information that this kind of thing exists, because it becomes important later in the game. And I hate those kinds of fetch quests. So she goes on that fetch quest, and then she goes on another fetch quest for a thing a guy already has. What? This guy literally has this thing, and then he tells her, I need you to go on a super secret mission to get this thing from my own warehouse. And then she has to break into the warehouse with an entire team. Like, she has to plan an entire heist to get this thing. And she goes in, and then her engineer is like reverse engineering the thing. They activate it, more or less an accident. And then there is a person that's like, ah yeah, I waited for you to call me. It's like, what the fuck, what, how? And then this person gives them an instruction of how to rebuild the thing they were supposed to steal. So they put the thing back, and then they go back, and then they just rebuild the thing to talk to the person. But the person told them not to talk to the person who owned the original thing. It's a whole thing. And then she's sent on another fetch quest, kind of. But that third fetch quest leads her to where her brother is. So their paths, like in the first book, at the end, intersect again, and when they intersect, things get interesting, because then the actual interesting part of the plot kicks off, which in this case, wowee, 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 wowee. I'm not telling you what it is, because that would be spoilers, but it's a big thing. But other than that, both of these books, book 1, Ashes of the Sun, and book 2, Blood of the Chosen, are pretty much the same thing, just that Ashes of the Sun is a bit more interesting because we are introduced to the characters, so you actually want to sit through the slow parts because you don't know these people yet. These books are also very much different in size because we don't have the character introductions in this one, but that makes this book a lot bit more uninteresting, kind of, because all of Maya's plot is just biding time because we need to know what she is doing while her brother is doing all of the interesting rebellion stuff. I didn't dislike the book because Gaia's side of things is still very interesting. I love things that happen on his side. I'm just bored to death by the things that happen on her side. So I really hope that book 3 is a bit more interesting, because now we have some very interesting players on the field, and some very interesting players were removed from the field, and some very interesting things have happened with the field itself. So I am very interested in seeing where book 3 is going. I might even finish the series this year, who knows. But that means I need to pick my next read, and I'm low-key tired of reading physical books at the moment, but I'm also reading a lot of ebooks for Summerween. I gotta think. Because, to put it into perspective for you, I already read 3 of my Summerween books. Like, I read Swallowed by Max Smitherman for, I believe it was Plant Horror for Adventurerathon. I read A Bone in His Teeth for the Lorelei prompt. And I just last night finished Walking Practice by Dolki Min. So I'm reading a lot digitally. All of my reads for Summerween are digitally. I only have Tender is the Flesh and House of Slaughter Volume 6 left to read. But they are also kind of heavy reads, like all of them need my brain. Blood of the Chosen needed my brain. And I know Tender is the Flesh will also need my brain. And House of Slaughter I want to use my brain. So I think I need something easier to read. I do have Bridge of Souls by V.E. Schwab on my TBR. That's a middle grade that doesn't require too many brain cells. I think I want to read that next, which is for the... Is it Devil's Footprints for the ghost story? Was it Devil's Footprints? I don't know. I will let you know once I finish Bridge of Souls. Yeah, I'm gonna read Bridge of Souls next for Adventurerathon, and Tender is the Flesh for Summerween.
Show Steve a good time, but, well, we don't know too much.
I have been such a bad vlogger. I have finished, let me count. I needed to make a list to not forget what I finished. I finished 7 different things and I didn't vlog a single thing of them. In my defense, 2 of them were under 20 pages long and 1 of them was for my Summerween vlog. So technically I did already vlog 1 of these things. But let's go in order, shall we? The first thing I finished and didn't tell you about is Bridge of Souls by V.E. Schwab, which is the 3rd and final book in the City of Ghosts series. And I have to say it again, middle grade is not my thing. I'm not a middle grade reader in general. When I pick up a middle grade, it is usually to see if this thing would interest my younger cousin, but he is now starting to age out of middle grade and into YA, so I don't think I have the need to read a lot of middle grade in the future, but I'm a fan of V.E. Schwab, so I read this one and I liked it. It's on the spooky side for a middle grade, and it does certain things where you are like, this isn't a middle grade? Namely, we're talking about death and people dying, and the main character is facing down death and the possibility of dying. But yeah, it was a solid read. It didn't necessarily feel like the finale of a trilogy, because the end is very open. It's a very open end, but you can, when you read a trilogy, you can see, okay, this is now these characters' lives, and this is what they will do with their life going forward. This is how things work for them now. So yeah, it was a cute thing. I didn't hate it. Most middle grades, I'm bored by them. But that one I actually liked. Probably because I am a fan of V.E. Schwab's writing in general and the themes she picks up in her books. Then I finished What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher, which is the second book in the Sworn Soldier series, I want to say. And I have to say, a lot of people say What Moves the Dead is the best book in the so far 3-book long novella series, and then it goes downhill from there. I liked the second one more than the first one. The first one had our characters mostly just sit around and wait for things to develop. In the second one, these characters actually do things and then shit happens to them and then they have to deal with it. There is an actual plot arc there. And I like that a lot more. And the story is basically we follow our main character from the first book and their footman, assistant, best friend, I don't know. But they have a guy in their employ and he just stuck around for forever. But they travel back home. For what reason, I'm not quite sure, but they have a date with the fungus lady from the first book. They invited her over to stay at their place and look at some international mushrooms. The problem is the house hasn't been visited in quite a while. No one has lived there in quite a while because the housekeeper died. He just died and no one told his employer, the guy who's taking care of your house kind of croaked. So they have to fix the house up, get some help from the local village. But the local village is very superstitious of how the original housekeeper died, and things get weird because people are talking about an evil spirit haunting the house, and blah blah blah. Turns out there is an evil spirit haunting the house. So I actually liked What Feasts at Night more than What Moves the Dead, which apparently makes me a rare breed? ? I don't know, but I like the series enough still that I want to pick up the third one. I think it's the final one. I don't know if there are more coming out. T. Kingfisher publishes books every other day, so who knows at this point. And I also read Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire? I think that's how you say that, right? Shannon McGuire. Which is the first book in the Wayward Children series, and this is the amount of weird shit in stories that I love. This is good shit. I can already see this being one of my favorite series of all time. I will definitely continue with it. This was so good. Every Heart a Doorway is the start of a series where we follow kids who had their moment, their Alice in Wonderland moment, where a door opened of some kind and they went through and they ended up in some sort of fairy tale world. And in this world, actually, they are categorized. There are worlds that have high nonsense levels, think the Wonderland of Alice in Wonderland, but then you have high logic worlds where all of the rules apply, where, for example, fake hordes live, and you have like the horror stuff and the whimsical stuff, and it's like this whole compass thing, and we see this boarding school for kids that were kicked out of these worlds or came back from these worlds and now have to adjust to life in the real world again and have trouble doing so. So they live at this boarding school and either try to find their way back, or there is apparently a different school where they try to forget what happened to them. And we stay at the school with all of these kids who went to their worlds and they really want to remember their worlds and they want to go back to these worlds, and they come from all of these different worlds. So the mashing of all of them is very interesting, and then somehow people start dying and there is a murder mystery going on, and it is very short, but it is so good. This is the amount of whimsy I want in my life. That was so good. I deeply fell in love with everything about this, and I cannot wait to read book 2, which is also on my TBR. The fact that I haven't yet shows you that I have self-restraint, however small it may be. Speaking of small things, I read A Trip to the Head by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I didn't understand a single thing that was going on. Logically, there were words that I understood, and they were arranged in the structure of sentences, and the single sentences did make sense. But the second you put more and more of these sentences together to form a paragraph, you start to lose me. And then when you have an entire page, I was utterly lost. I have no idea what was going on in that one. I would give you a summary, but I don't know. This is one of these moments where you look at a blank piece of canvas mounted on a white wall and ask yourself, is this art or can I throw it away? So that was kind of a waste of 20 minutes of my life. Thankfully, it was only 20 pages long, and I get to knock off a thing on my r/fantasy bingo for it, so yay me. A lot funnier was reading Space Raptor Butt Invasion by Chuck Tingle. It is pretty much what it says in the title. It is a guy who is stationed on a planet that is currently being terraformed, and he has to stay there for a year all alone. And on his first day, he does his rounds, and then he comes back and he sees a mysterious figure that shouldn't be there. Okay, cool. His life goes on. A couple of days later, someone knocks at his door, even though he should be alone on the planet. He opens the door, and there stands a Velociraptor person. And apparently, the dinosaurs didn't die out when a meteor hit Earth. No, they were technologically advanced enough to just leave the planet, and they fucked off and found their own little new Earth. And they know about mankind, they just don't care. But now they need to expand, just like mankind needs to expand, and they just happen to land on the same planet. So they decide, hey, you're alone, I'm alone, how about we are alone together? And they spend some time together, they befriend each other, and then they decide it is totally #no homo to shag each other because they are not of the same species. It ain't gay if your boyfriend is a Velociraptor, apparently. So that was a fun trip. That was a ride. No pun intended. But maybe. I don't know. It was definitely funny. It was surprising that the smut that you get at the end is surprisingly good. But I gotta say, Chuck, my man, you have a space Velociraptor and all you can come up with is raptor dick? Give me a description. Make it funny. Make it interesting. I don't know. Make it light up on sound cues or something. Every time you clap the cheeks, rainbow lights start going. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. The one thing I read that I will not talk about in detail is Tender is the Flesh by I forgot the author's name, because I read that for my Summerween vlog, and that one should be, if I do my things the way they should be done, should already be out. I will link it. It is probably already linked. You will find it. I'm sure. But that is where I talk more about Tender is the Flesh. I didn't get the hype around it, that's all I'm gonna say. So I can talk to you about the last thing that I read, and then we can finish this up. Which is House of Slaughter, Volume 6. Azure, The Color Blue in Spanish. I also talked in a little bit more detail about that in my Summerween vlog because it counted for read something at night, but somehow I feel I need to go a bit more into detail again because that wrap up was interrupted by a very needy puppy who currently needs to learn how to be bored. Our puppy trainer got us the homework to ignore the dog completely and make every decision for him. Because he, ever since his balls dropped, he decided he needs to control us, and there is a lot of micro-controlling going on. Like, when you cuddle with him, he puts a paw on you. He is the one who decides, I want to go here, there, and everywhere. He often does this thing where he is laying in the doorway. We have a kind of open floor plan and he lies in the middle of the doorway, which is a form of control. So our puppy trainer said, no, this dog doesn't get to make a single decision for the next week, so now we are ignoring him, which is why I am currently ignoring him filming this video. But that also means there will be no puppy interruptions when I talk about House of Slaughter Volume 6. Long story short, House of Slaughter Volume 6 is the story of the Blue Masks, and they were originally the smiths that made the weapon for the House of Slaughter, Butcher, whatever, for the houses, to equip them with whatever tool they need in order to do their job, which is hunt monsters. Now, in the modern age, you don't really need someone to forge an axe for you so you can go hunt down a monster. Instead, they are now information brokers. They make sure that the houses are well funded. They make sure that they know where to go and that the police doesn't intervene when they do their thing. They're handling the information. They are the admin. And the House of Slaughter series highlights what the mask colors do, since in Something is Killing the Children, we're basically only following the story of Erica Slaughter, and House of Slaughter gives you a bit of the background information of the world. And in this volume, we get my boy Edwin back. I love Edwin. I love Edwin. Also, this volume of the comic confirms something that I had theorized at the end of reading volume 2 Scarlet, which is Edwin's edition of the comics. It got confirmed and I'm feeling very validated. But also, the blue mask we follow is now trying to interact with Edwin, and interacting with Edwin is strange, to say the least, but both parties are trying. Edwin is the most autistic character you will ever meet, and he has trouble communicating with people because people speak in metaphors a lot, and they don't say what they mean, and they think that he means something else when he says something, although he says it like he means it. So now he has to interact with this blue mask, or rather the blue mask has to interact with him because he needs some information from Edwin, and they start talking, and Edwin is like, I don't use metaphors. I don't know how to use metaphors. So they have this entire squabble about how to communicate with each other, but they figure it out over time, and which is a good thing because they together are the brains needed to figure out what is going on in the House of Slaughter itself, because weird shit has been happening for quite a while now, and they figure it out. They are the ones who noticed it, and now they come together, squabble in how to communicate with each other, and then they start communicating with each other, and that is how they fix the problem, and everyone is happy. And I very much enjoyed that one. I mean, it is very hard for me not to enjoy anything coming out of the Slaughterverse. I love the Slaughterverse with my entire heart. So this was just another volume of greatness in a litany of great comics. I cannot wait for the show to come out. I cannot wait for the animated show to come out. I cannot wait for the book to come out later this year. I will try so hard to get an arc the second I can get my hands on that. Ah, yes. Good shit. All of this brings us to the end of this first Adventurerathon vlog of mine. I will split this into two. A, because a month is very long, and B, I already read so much, and I want to read so much more. I'm like, I think I'm not even halfway done with my entire TBR. Like, my motivation is still there. I want to keep going, and my goal is to unlock all of the pages. I have not checked in a while of how many I have unlocked. I just know I have unlocked a bunch, and I think I'm done with Fables at this point? Question mark? I don't know. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So my main goal is to unlock all of the pages. My second goal, stretch goal, is to read for every single prompt. And if I can get the special pages, even better. Do I need the special pages? No, but I would really like the XP boost and the gold that comes with it. So this is just me being an overachiever again. Anyway, wrapping this vlog up. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments below if you're participating in the Adventurerathon. If not, why not? And if you're participating, let me know what character class you play as and what kind of route you are going. Fairy tale, folklore, fables, a mix. What you doing and how is it going? If you don't want to talk to me at all, leave a scroll emoji down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Almost said right and subscribe. Oops. And yeah, I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye.